This is a guy that every time I watched Link, this kid popped. He's headed to Tennessee. He's listed at 6'5". I want to say it was 170. Very long shooter. He was a complimentary guy playing off Elliot Cadeau and Jacoby Walter. But every time you turn on the tape, you're like, oh, that kid could hoop. He could play. Now, Tennessee is absolutely loaded with guys that are probably a little bit similar to him. So my big question is, will there be minutes? Tennessee has 11 guys listed at 6'6" or below.
Damn.
Right? And he's listed at 6'5" on the website, 6'4" other places, but very long. He's skinny. Is he physically developed enough? But as a basketball player, I think that he's exactly who you want to put around any of your number 1, 2, 3 options, because he's the perfect off-ball complement to an offense.
It's Corey. We've talked about Cameron Carr off camera so many times. We love him. I love him, dude. The first thing I wrote in my notes in all caps, shooter with like 5 R's. Just dude, his jumper looks fantastic. Deep range on his jumper. Another guy super confident in the shot. I don't give a rat's ass what his shooting numbers were. I know on Synergy it was like 33% from 3 or whatever. I do not care. Like I literally, I would bet all the money I have in my account, which is not much, that he's going to be a really good shooter. Like you said, playing off of Cadeau and Walter, it was just a great opportunity for him to just be. And I know, like I saw it on YouTube, someone comped him to Reggie Miller, and you look at his body and you go, yeah. Like his body really does look like Reggie Miller, and he's got the wristband thing on and everything. So it's hard to not see it, but you have to start with the shooting with him.
Undoubtedly, you have to start at the shooting, and that's where we're gonna start. The kid's got range.
Look at this. Where is it? Where is that?
That's from the Axe logo.
The X. Oh my God.
Yeah, the kid's got range, and it's beautiful. Like you said, the numbers don't reflect 33.3%, but it was on 159 attempts.
Yeah.
You know, like it was on super high volume. Now, he shot 25% in the EYBL on a good number of attempts. Yeah. So the percentages haven't been there throughout the whole year. However, 87.2% from the free throw line at Link, 94.4% from the free throw line in the EYBL. But the fact of the matter is, if you watch this shot, you go, okay, that kid could shoot the cover off the ball. Mm-hmm. Just straight up, filthy, silky smooth. Mm-hmm. And when you're building an offense, I mean, you know, the first thing you recognize is that, like, this is a kid. He's just going to open up space for your guards. I mean, look, playing with Elliot Cadeau, this kid created so many looks for him, but like spot up, off ball, smooth.
Just look at the balance, man. As you love talking about, Corey, the shot prep on this kid, lights out, man. It's just so easy. The stroke looks so easy. He looks like he was literally born to be a shooter. Look at that jumper, man. Are you kidding me? He's one of these guys, like when the ball goes in, the net explodes. Love those guys. Love those guys. He's one of those guys, though. And, you know, with him, like, once again, the role that he played next to Cadeau, he played it perfectly, dude. His off-ball movement was great. Did a great job, whether he was sitting in the corner or lifting up, just was always reading what, you know, they were doing, what the ball handler was doing. Did a great job, man. He's like, but Corey, once again, you mentioned it at the top, like the situation that he's in and the roster that he's on. And we talked about it in our group chat. It's like, we both love him, but damn, we wish he went to a different school or was at a different situation where he could continue to do this and maybe even explore some other aspects of his game. Right. But, yeah, you know, playing next to Cadeau, I felt like he didn't get to show too much with the ball in his hands. I'm not trying to say that that's a strength of his, but it just didn't happen a lot. He took a lot of these types of jumpers, which is also good, right? Like that. Hopefully, that's his role on the next level as well. But love the shot, man. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and I think if you're going to be a great off-ball shooter and like that's your calling card, you have to be a versatile shooter, right? Like Reggie was a really versatile shooter. He wasn't just a stand in the corner guy. Clay, not just a stand in the corner guy, right?
Yep.
All of these guys, and I don't want to put that kind of pressure on him because obviously, like, the 3-point shooting hasn't reflected that yet. And like, I'm trying to think, like, Justin Jackson was a guy who I thought, right, who had like similar kind of body type and also was like a really pretty jumper.
Yeah.
So like there are scenarios in which you're like, all right, this kid should be able to shoot at a higher clip. Why isn't he? So right now it doesn't reflect it, but I'm buying the shot because it's so pretty. The free throw percentage is outrageous. And the versatility in which he can, shoot in a number of ways coming off the DHO here. So I love how versatile he is. And I love that, like, when you think of modern NBA, right? Like, not only are you thinking of like these bigs who are going to put him in these DHO scenarios where he's able to kind of, do these quick pitches, get the ball and lose his man, but NBA teams love to play fast. They want to, get into early offense. And so many times, like, gets the ball in transition, 7 seconds or less type stuff, and he's just letting it fly to the hoop.
He, in that final game against Sunrise, he had some big shots, man. And also that transition dunk at the end where he slaps the backboard, loved it. But that's the thing, Corey. Number one, I'm mad at you because you brought up Justin Jackson first, and that was the first name that came to mind when I watched him. I was like, why does he look so much like Justin Jackson? And it's everything with like the shoulder stuff and like he looks so much like him. But the one thing with Carr that I like is he's got like this killer mentality to him. Like, you watch the games, he wants the ball, he wants the big shots. He's really hunting opportunities for him to get shots up. As you mentioned, Corey, I put up 150 something threes last season, which is a lot. Which I like. I love that, man. Just throw them up there, shoot your shot, continue to be aggressive. But also, it's been reported that his wingspan is 7'1".
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. So if he's 6'5" with a 7'1" wingspan, that's fun stuff, man. And decent athlete, right? Good bloodlines. His dad played in the league. It's going to be talked about everywhere that his dad lost to Kobe in the dunk contest in the final. But a guy who played like 6-7 seasons in the NBA, and so he's got some good genes there. But yeah, he's one of these short torso, long-legged guys. Can really shoot the cover off the ball. Yeah, we haven't talked about like his at rim stuff, but yeah, I'd like to see him put on some weight soon. Yeah,
that's going to be a big question mark. The food in Tennessee is probably pretty good.
Yeah,
probably pretty good for him. I like this off the bounce here. You said it. He's not going to do a ton off the bounce. It's never been who he is, and I don't think it's who he needs to be.
Right.
But he needs to do just enough that he could be efficient with what he does, and that's what he does. When he's shooting off the bounce, it's off 1 or 2 dribbles. Like, he's not creative. He's not gonna, go ISO and dance with the rock. He's gonna do, get into early offense, low clock there, and then he's not only able to do it from 3, but he also has, and he doesn't rely on it a lot. But I kind of like that, he does have a little bit of like a mid-range pull-up 2 off these scenarios, right to the elbow, off balance, splash. And those little shots are going to be important. And then this is the thing that's going to be really important for him too. What happens? He's going to get run off the line. So how does he operate when that happens? Defender runs out, floater. Basically, his percentages were great everywhere except for the 3-point line. So, and we buy the shot because it's so pretty, and he, the volume and the difficulty and how he shot them. But the mid-range stuff and the floater, that area, he didn't operate there a ton. Could have been by scheme. He's definitely like a rim and threes guy, but I do like that it seems like he does have it in his game if he needs to go to it.
Corey, along with everything that you just said, he's also really good at moving off the ball. Yeah, he's a really good cutter. Like, even with like baseline out of bounds plays, like there were a couple that they threw lobs to him, and it was really, really pretty stuff. He also is a good athlete. Like, he's not not a superstar athlete, but he can jump, man. He can get up, and also it helps that he has 7'1" wingspan when they throw lobs to him and stuff. So I'm with yes, that's the one. That's the one right there. Really nice play. But a guy that, Corey, like we're number one, we're not projecting him to be like in the top 5 as a prospect, but as a guy that has a clear and defined role on the next level. I think he's going to be expected to be a guy who can space the floor, a guy that is going to offer, some of that, I don't want to say secondary stuff, but just like a floor spacer, right? A floor spacer who we haven't talked about his defense yet, but yeah, the role is clear with him.
Yeah, I love his off-ball movement, and here, I mean, I'm actually going to steal this play because this play rocks.
Yeah.
Using him as like, all right, he could, if his defender's not attached, like he can go to the corner for 3. If he is, he just comes back and uses that athleticism to catch a little lob, and you have to chase after him because he's a threat to shoot. I love all that. It's honestly, he's a guy where it's kind of hard to find a weakness in his game because of the way that he plays. The weakness in his game is the physicality, that he's physically weak. And right now that the roster has 1,000 guys that are around his height, if I had to pick out a weakness, it's like, I guess maybe, he struggles more shooting over length and like against contests. He's still going to let it fly. Obviously the 3-point numbers don't bear it out. Also, this is an awesome end of, game play. Like, great job by everybody here. I really wanted to highlight that too. Like, everybody did a great job by coach as well. But yeah, like, he is a good off-ball cutter. He is athletic. He is able to play out in transition. He had a ton of dunks this year. Now that we're getting, to his finishing, reading off some numbers, he had 35 dunks at Link. Here he is catching the oop in transition from Elliot Cadeau. He was 83.1% at the rim at Link.
That's good.
72.7% in the half court. Now, he was 57.1% in the EYBL and then 50% in the half court in the EYBL. So I don't think he's an 83% at the rim guy. I think that a lot of it is that Elliot Cadeau is a beast at making guys better. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's just able to create opportunities. And then a lot of it is he's really crafty and smart in moving without the ball and finding himself opportunities to score at the rim, out in transition, off cuts, even off putbacks and stuff, using that length. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's got like an 8% turnover percentage because he's not going to do all of the dancing with the rock. He keeps it simple, right? He plays to his strengths. And then, defensively, I think he's going to struggle with physicality, but I think his length will bother people. He's not an aggressive defender. He's not going to get like up in you necessarily. He could stay with you. But I think the physicality is really the aspect of his game that you would say, I guess that's a weakness.
Yeah. Corey, I think, especially on the defensive side of the ball, what you mentioned is really important. He gets moved, man. He does. And if you're that size and that weight, it's something he has to work on. He absolutely, like, I know, like, there's some guys like, look at KD, whatever. No, man, like, you look at a Cameron Carr, like, he needs to add weight. He's too light right now. He gets moved a lot. He really struggles with physicality. But as you mentioned, there are good tools, man. Long ass arms, long ass legs. And for a guy who has like the short torso, long leg stuff, I think he moves actually pretty decently well on the perimeter. And obviously that wingspan is going to compensate for a lot. So yeah, I'm with you, man. And also, as you mentioned, Elliot Cadeau might be one of the best lob throwers I've seen in a long time. Like, it's unreal. We talked about it when we did his pod, but he's so damn good at throwing lobs. So that definitely helped. But yeah, like with Carr, dude, he's another guy that, like, you love the mentality, you love the aggressiveness that he plays with, and he can shoot the cover off the ball. So I think both of us are going to buy him as a 3-and-D prospect that just really needs to work on his body and continue to show that his shot is not just pretty, but it goes in a lot.
And he might not be a this year guy even.
Oh yeah.
Like, he might not be. I know he was injured for I believe they went to Italy, and he was injured on that tour. So we didn't get to even, see if he played. We didn't get to see him in action there. Let's see him get on the court. Let's talk about it. But I think if you go and you watch his film, he's always going to be a guy that you notice. And he's always going to be a guy that you could say, yeah, he fits with this guy. He fits on my team.
Yeah.
And I think that's valuable.